Hey guys, welcome back. So today I'm out at the range with another oddball out of my collection. It seems as though my collection has no shortage of oddballs, and this pistol is no exception. The pistol I have out this afternoon is the H&K VP70. It was a grand commercial flop, and there's several reasons for that, but the reason I own it and the reason it's such a cool conversation piece is because it really was something of a revolutionary pistol. Now, if you're new to the handgun game, you just bought your first Glock 19 for concealed carry or Glock 17, you've been around guns for the last year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and don't really study the history of firearms development, you may actually think that your Glock is some sort of revolutionary pistol, that Gaston designed the very first polymer frame striker-fired pistol. He didn't. The Germans did in 1970. They beat Gaston by a full decade or more, and this is the pistol that did it. This pistol does have a polymer frame, and it is striker fired. The only real difference between this, well, I mean, there are some very real differences, but one of the key functional differences between the VP70 and the Glock is that this one has a manual safety right here by my finger. Now, what's kind of funny is that we as Americans like to have our magazine releases right about where the Germans decided to put the cross-block safety. So when you go to change magazines, you may find yourself putting your safety on before you realize, oh yeah, it's a heel release, European style, on the gun. So yeah, it has a polymer frame, it is striker fired, and it has the worst, so far, trigger I have ever found on any striker fired pistol. Heck, it may have the worst trigger pull of any pistol I've ever fired, period. My trigger pull gauge won't even go so high as to measure how heavy this trigger pull is. It's well over 15 pounds. And that's for every single shot because this is a striker fired pistol. It is awful. Also, the gun has the goofiest front sight. It's this wide blade with a trough cut in the center, and then just has a standard notch in the rear. It has the worst sight picture of pretty much any handgun I have in my collection. So, it's definitely an oddball. It was designed to be a submachine gun. The original version had a stock that would clip on here and it had a selector on the stock so you could do burst fire with it, but the civilian version doesn't have the facilities for attaching the stock. It's just kind of an oddball gun that never really went anywhere on the US market, and so now they're collector's pieces. But even then, you can pick them up on Gunbroker, and they're not horribly expensive. If you get a brand new one in the box, you're going to pay a premium for it. But picking up a used one like I did, this one doesn't have any of its extras. You know, $600, something like that. Not horribly expensive. That's because nobody wants them. They shoot horribly. Speaking of shooting horribly, I'm going to go ahead and fire 18 rounds. This is its 18-round double-stack magazine. I have some of that Winchester USA forged steel-cased garbage in here. I'm just trying to get rid of this stuff. Let's see if it chokes the HK VP70. Again, just a straight old blowback pistol. Charge that first of the 18 rounds. Now let's do a little bit of shooting with this bad boy and see how that Winchester ammunition holds up. Make sure I got my safety off. That sight picture is awful. Squeeze. Squeeze, squeeze. Bang. Oh, there we go. All right. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, it doesn't lock open on the last round fired either. I mean, that trigger pull is horrible. I mean, it just trying to, it'll wear your finger out. Firing 18 rounds, that and it competes with the Glock for banging your hand around. It's not the most ergonomic handgun in the world, but it does hold 18 rounds. And if you have one of those little workout machines that make your hand strong, it'd be a pretty good defensive pistol because it is paper thin, holds 18 rounds. I guess if it were 1970, because we definitely have better handguns these days. Even the Germans have made better handguns these days, and even called them VP, like the VP9. VP9 is far better than this one. I wonder if this one works when it gets wet. You know what? Let's do some shooting with the VP9. VP stands for Volk's pistol or People's pistol, and 9 in this case I assume means 9mm. In the case of the VP70, it stood for Volk's pistol or People's pistol Model 70. 1970, Model 70, kind of makes sense. It's a normal thing to do in the firearms manufacturing world. You know what, guys? I really do miss my VP9. I really do enjoy shooting it. It's one of the most ergonomic handguns I've ever shot. in stark contrast to the VP70, which is probably one of the least ergonomic handguns I've ever shot. But I've got it loaded up with some of the, you know, Winchester USA forged steel cased stuff. Make sure we got a round chambered. Do not. All right, we should be good to go now. And we'll just do a little bit of shooting with the VP9, and then we'll jump back over to the VP70. I have my rubber dummy, my favorite target to shoot at while I'm out here at the Mac range, because he just loves being shot in the stomach, chest, face, wherever I want to shoot him. Watch. Well, if the guys over at Rubber Dummy could do one thing, it would be to make a little bit wider base. But you know what? Maybe it is my fault. They actually did put holes in the base so you could put stakes in it. But I'm horribly lazy and forgetful. And when you combine lazy with forgetful, you get what we just saw here. A target falling over right in the middle of everything. I guess I could try to blame it on the guys over Rubber Dummies, but I guess that wouldn't be fair. But then whoever said I was fair? All right, I stood Mr. Rubber Dummy back up. I'm gonna finish out my magazine, dang it. I want to shoot Mr. Rubber Dummy with my VP9. I haven't shot this thing in a long time, and he's being a killjoy. I'm gonna shoot him for it. Because what I do, I shoot rubber dummies. And the VP9, of course, locks open. Such a sweet shooting pistol. I miss you. All right, let's get that VP70 out here and see how it does. I have now reset Mr. Rubber Dummy with my Rubber Dummy target reset kit. And now I have my VP70, which I'm going to go ahead and make ready. Rubber Dummy, you're in trouble. Hey, look at that. Center punched him right in the forehead. Right in the eye. Right in the other eye. Okay, despite the horrible trigger, it shoots okay. Wow, double taps? Horribly hard to do. It would be like trying to do a double tap with a double action revolver with the worst double action trigger you've ever felt in your life. And of course does not lock open on the last round fired, which sucks. Yeah. It's a fun collectible. Come on, guys, you can't fault me for wasting money on it. If my wife sees this video, she's going to say, sell that piece of junk, you don't even like it. But honey, it's a collectible. It's the predecessor to the Glock, and everybody loves the Glock, and I got to be able to tell all my viewers about how great the Germans are because they started the whole concept of a polymer frame. Come on, honey. Oh, yeah. My wife is a lot cooler than that. If she watches this, she will choke me for that if I don't delete it. Am I going to leave that in there? What do you say, Mr. Rubber Dummy? Yep. He said leave it in there. I'm a dead man. The Germans are known for building very robust, well-built fighting weapons. And in the case of the VP70, it seems to be no exception. This thing is built like a tank, and I think there's a good reason for that. Let me demonstrate. All right, so, well, the Winchester ammunition did its magic, but I swear to God I saw something fly off the gun. What, I don't know. Maybe it was just the spent case. I'm going to run the risk of go ahead and running this round. And now I've created a real problem. So, because I can't lock the slide to the rear, yeah. There we go. Problem fixed. Now, back to my story. The Germans build really robust handguns for a reason, and Winchester builds really crappy ammunition for I don't know what reason, but I do know why the Germans make their handguns so robust. Let me continue. All right, after firing 18 rounds out of this darn thing, even if I had a spare magazine, there's no way I'd want to pull that trigger 18 more times. My hand is tired. I am left with one option. And I almost knocked him over. And I also hit the steel plate with my collectible VP70. Why not? Did it to the VP9. Now all you haters can attack me for throwing the VP70 at things. Go ahead, hate on me. I love it. Well, shucks, now I have a small problem. Rubber dummies are painted white. And so is my VP70 now. I'm starting to think that wasn't such a good idea. Let's go see if we got some gun cleaning stuff in the Jeep. Well, got some CLP here. Let's see if I can unscrew my mess. Let that soak in. Ruh-roh. Why don't you guys stop me from doing things like that? I really should know better. I just don't know better. Hey, it's starting to come off. I think the VP70 may survive this and not be painted white forever. All right, so, almost good enough. We'll call it good. Field stripping the VP70 is really straightforward and simple. First, drop the magazine out of the pistol. Make sure that it's clear. And then you have this little takedown nub that's present on both sides of the gun. It's right here by my finger. All I'm going to do is pull this down like that. And now I can just pull the slide to the rear and lift up on it, and it'll come apart. It's very similar to the P7. Recoil spring comes off the end of the barrel, and that's the gun field stripped. Really simple. To put it back together, you can take a look inside the slide if you'd like to there. All right, to put it all back together, very simple. Put the spring back on the barrel. This takes a little bit of practice and patience, trying to line the spring and the barrel up. Do so, make sure your lever's down. There we go, that went relatively easily. Pull it all the way to the rear, slide it on, put your lever back in the upward position, and the gun's ready to shoot again. I hope you guys enjoyed coming out this afternoon and do a little bit of shooting with me with the H&K VP70. As I promised earlier in the year, I want to start to bring out more of my older guns in my collection and not just talk about the new stuff that's on the market. The new stuff interests me, but not nearly as much as the old stuff. I'm quite the military firearms collector, mostly rifles, but some handguns like the VP70. And it's always fun to take a look at some of those historical pieces. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at the VP70, for example, this afternoon. Now, I'm going to tie things up by shooting my VP9 or my Volk's pistol, People's Pistol 9, because honestly, I'm tired of pulling the trigger on that darn VP70. So anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll talk to you guys soon. All right, so you guys probably think I'm making this stuff up. There it is, Winchester, USA forged. How many handguns is this stuff choked now? Some of you guys may have been saying, oh no, Mac, it's just that gun. I have great luck with the Winchester stuff. It has literally choked every single gun I've put it in, including the VP9 and the VP70. I mean, until now, I'd never found a single loaded cartridge, no matter how poor the quality, that would cause my VP9 to malfunction. And look at that. Well, thankfully, I still have my VP70. I'll go ahead and, just for the sake of doing it, fire it off and have some more fun with it this afternoon before I put it back on the wall. Probably never to shoot it again. Some of the guys at the shop were joking around saying that the Winchester USA forged ammunition was good for one thing, and that was practicing your malfunction clearing drills. Sure, if the only drill you practice is keeping a tool handy to poke stuck cases out of the chamber, because I cannot get that round out. It is stuck in there, and the only way to get it out is to force it out. Good job, Winchester.